Now what do you do once the bluegills are off the bed? You're done using your fly rod. The next thing I do, I will take these gumball jigs and I will tie a little small skirt to those, and then I'll use my epoxy there to keep those on, and those will last a couple years also. Now the size jig I like is a 1/64. They're hard to find. They used to be on the market everywhere for about 20 cents a piece. Now they're 25 cents a piece if you can find them. And I will use this flashabou material. It comes in a strip like this. I like the rainbow and the blue. It lasts a long time. You can do a lot of hooks with this, as you can see, because all you want is a little bit of this tinsel on your hook. And this skirting, just a small piece tied onto these little jigs here, will create so much more action than just a plain hook, whether you're using a power bait or a worm. So we're going to show you now how to tie on some of this skirt and again epoxy it, and you'll have a great method here for catching bluegills. I like to use a small bobber, sometimes a pencil bobber, and fish maybe 3 feet deep on the edge of the weed lines. Alright, we take one of our small jigs here, the 1/64 size jig. Take the hook, we'll put it in our vise here. Now we need to put a base on there, a little bit of thread to lock on. Make a few wraps there, 4 or 5. Twist our thread around it. Make 3 or 4 more wraps. That should be good. Put some weight on that thread to hold her just a little snug there. Now we can cut this thread off. Don't throw it away. We're going to make a loop out of that later to tie that on. Now take some of our flashabou here. I'm going to take a little bit more this time. Last one I made it light. This one I'm going to make a lot heavier. I'm going to put that on, and I'm going to spread that around with my fingers around the jig head a little bit. Then I'm going to make 4, 5, 6 loops there. Again, put some tension on that thread. Take our other piece of thread that we had, make our loop. Lead that up there. Make 3 or 4 more wraps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut that off. We're going to put that through the loop. Now we're going to take the other end of that loop, thread there, and we're going to pull that through. There it goes through. Make sure it's snug. That's tied under there pretty tight. It's not going to go anywhere. We're going to cut that extra thread off. Now our jig has plenty of flash on it, so now we're going to trim some of that flash off. And we're going to work around the top there, the top of the jig, the head. Okay, there's the top. The bottom, I don't like the skirt too much further past the hook, so I'm going to cut off that. Come up here in an angle, get rid of some of this stuff. In the back here, don't need all that. Alright, now we got a jig with quite a bit more flashing on it this time relative to the other one. Show you the other one here. The other one's just got a little bit, so you can put whatever you want on it. Now we're just going to take some epoxy, put on that thread, and it's ready to go. Now you see the plain jig here, no skirt on it. Just put a worm or a power bait on that or something, and then you got the ones here that I put with a little bit of skirt and quite a bit of skirting. You're going to find out that these two are going to catch a lot more bluegills than this one without the skirt. This tinsel here just gives it a little more reflection in the water, makes the bluegill a little more aggressive. So these are ideal baits. After the bluegills are off the bed, you're done with a fly rod, and you're up to a bobber. Good luck with your bluegills. Now we have 4 jigs here that we completed, each one with a little less skirting down to the jig without a skirt. Again, use these jigs with the flashabou on them. Use a power bait or a worm, it will outfish this regular jig anytime. Now we want to show you how to add a little bit of epoxy on this thread here so that this skirting in this jig will last a couple years easily. This is the 5-minute epoxy we use. We'll put a little bit on this plate, mix it up, and we'll get it on that thread right away using a toothpick. Here's our 5-minute epoxy. We just need to mix that up now. Now we got our 5-minute epoxy mixed up. Again, I don't use very much because it dries so fast, so I'll do 3 to 5 jigs or spiders or poppers at a time. So here we're going to take one of our jigs, put a little 5-minute epoxy on it, and we're going to go right around that thread. There's one. You want to hang that now on something. Don't want to put it on a plate, it will dry to the plate. Go to our next one, do the same thing. Again, we got our epoxy all the way around the thread there. Now we want to hang that up to dry for 5 minutes. Now when you're doing jigs, poppers, and spiders you can just lay on their back. Epoxy the back of them. These things will last 2-3 years. If you're doing the jigs, or if you're painting poppers, you want to hang them up to dry.